The prisons are full of the wrong people. Look closely at what I am saying to you. The jails, the cages, the iron bars, they are filled with the symptoms of a sick society, not the causes. The real criminals sit in palaces. The real criminals sit in parliament houses, wearing expensive clothes, surrounded by armies, writing laws for others to obey. The real criminals are not the ones stealing a loaf of bread because their stomach is screaming with hunger. No. The real criminals are the ones who steal the soul of humanity and call it education. They steal your freedom and call it discipline. They steal your very being and call it culture. You have been taught to hate the thief. When you see a beggar stealing a coin, you feel anger. You feel superior. You say, look at this bad man. But you have never been taught to question the system that creates the beggar. You bow down to the man who steals a whole nation, who destroys millions of lives in the name of war, in the name of borders. You call him a leader. You call him your excellency. This is the insanity of the world you live in. Reality has been reversed. I am here to turn it right side up again. But be warned, when you see reality as it is, it will shock you. It will shake the ground beneath your feet. And that shaking is necessary. Because only when your false foundations are destroyed can the temple of truth be built. Before we walk deeper into this forest of truth, I want to ask you to stay present with me. If these words stir something in your heart, if they feel like a mirror reflecting a truth you have long suspected, then subscribe to this channel. This is not just a button. It is a commitment to your own awakening. By joining our community, you help us spread this light to those still trapped in the dark. If you feel a deep resonance, please like this video and share it with one person you know is struggling with the burden of being good. Let us begin a chain reaction of consciousness. In this talk, I'm going to show you that crime is not what you think it is. I will reveal how society has played a great trick on you. The conscious man dangerous and the unconscious man respectable. You listening to me right now? Yes, you have felt this. I know you have felt this deep inside, a feeling that something is wrong. Not with you, but with the world that demands you to be false. You have felt trapped between guilt and desire, between what the priests tell you to be and what your biology screams you are. If you have ever felt this conflict, this split, then this talk is your mirror. Look into it. Do not look away. Through it, you will see that freedom is not a dream. It is your natural state. It is who you were before they told you who you should be. Since your childhood, you have been given a script. You have been told who the bad people are, the thief, the drunkard, the prostitute, the rebel. These are the outcasts. And you have been told to bow to the so-called good people, the priests, the teachers, the politicians, the moralists. But tell me honestly, look into your own heart and tell me, have these good people made the world good? Look at history. Look at the thousands of years of human existence. It is these good people who have created inquisitions, crusades, jihads. It is these good people who burn women as witches. It is these good people who decide who lives and who dies. Has their virtue brought peace to your heart? Or has it brought anxiety? You feel something is false. There is a quiet doubt in you, a whisper that you are being deceived. That maybe, just maybe, those who look holy are the ones most afraid of the truth. Those who preach poverty live in golden temples. Those who preach celibacy are obsessed with sex. Those who preach peace are the biggest warmongers. I am here to bring light to that darkness. I am not here to accuse them. An awakened man accuses no one because he understands the root cause. I am here to awaken you. I am not here to destroy morality, but to reveal something higher than morality. Something far more sacred, consciousness. That is the only true law that exists, the law of your own being. So, walk with me. We will take a journey through the hidden layers of what we call crime. We will look at how societies have built prisons for the body and even stronger prisons for the soul, and how both can be escaped. Not by violence, not by revolution in the streets, but by the explosion of awareness within. We will see how guilt has been used to control you. Guilt is the greatest weapon ever invented. It is more powerful than any nuclear bomb. A bomb can only destroy your body. Guilt destroys your spirit. It makes you bow down. It makes you feel unworthy. And a man who feels unworthy is easy to enslave. By the end of our time together, you will not only understand who the real criminals are, you will know how to live beyond all prisons, the prison of morality, of politics, of religion, of the mind itself. There will be moments that may shock you. Good. Let the shock happen. A shock is just a knock on the door of your sleep. It says, wake up. Each shock is a doorway to awakening. Let us begin at the beginning. You have been taught that morality makes you good, that following rules makes you righteous, that obedience brings peace. This is the hypnosis. This is the mantra repeated to you since you were in the cradle. Do this. Don't do that. Be like this. Don't be like that. But here is something most people completely miss. Morality has never created a single enlightened human being. Not one. Morality creates copies. It creates carbon copies. It creates hypocrites. It creates pretenders. It creates people who have beautiful masks but ugly faces behind them. The truly alive man, the awakened man, has always stood outside the circle of morality. Because morality is imposed from the outside. It is a dead weight. Consciousness grows from the inside. It is a living flower. Think of Jesus. Was he moral according to the society of his time? No. He hung around with prostitutes, with drunkards, with the poor, with the outcasts. The moral people of his time, the rabbis, the high priests, they called him a sinner. They said, this man eats with the wrong people. They crucified him because his very presence was a danger to their morality. Think of Socrates, the wisest man Athens ever produced. What did the good people do to him? They poisoned him. Why? Because he was corrupting the youth? No. Because he was making them think. And to a society built on lies, thinking is the greatest crime. To a society of sheep, the lion is always the criminal. Society calls the awakened man dangerous, and they are right. He is dangerous. I am dangerous because I am taking away your chains, and you have been in love with your chains for so long that you think I am stealing your jewelry. Morality is a beautiful word, but behind it hides the oldest trick in human history. The priests and politicians discovered long ago that chains of iron are too expensive. They are visible. The slave can see them, and if he sees them, one day he will try to break them. So they invented invisible chains. They invented conscience, not real conscience, but the fake voice they planted in your head. They discovered that if you can make a man feel guilty, you no longer need to imprison his body. He will become his own jailer. He will carry the cage inside him. He will police himself. Have you noticed this? You are alone in your room. Nobody is watching. Yet you are afraid to be yourself. Who is watching? The ghost of your father, the ghost of your priest, the ghost of your teacher. They are all there, sitting in your head, judging you. Don't touch your body. That is sin. Don't laugh too loud. That is rude. Don't ask questions. That is rebellion. You carry a whole parliament inside your head, and you think you are free. You are a walking prison. This is how morality works. It teaches you to hate your natural self. It teaches you to hate your joy. Your spontaneity is crushed. Your love is regulated. And then it calls this hatred virtue. It is a sickness. If you are listening to this and you feel that burden, in your chest, that heaviness of always trying to be good but never feeling good, I want you to take a moment, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, who is living my life? Is it me, or is it the fear of what others will say? If you are brave enough to ask this, you are ready for the truth. The moral man does not follow truth. He follows commandments. He does not live with consciousness. He lives with calculation. He is a businessman. Even in his prayers, he is doing business. He goes to the temple and says, God, I have been good. I have followed the rules. Now give me a reward. Give me a place in heaven. He is bargaining. His goodness is just a currency to buy a ticket to paradise. And he is afraid, if I do this wrong, will I be punished in hell? His life is trembling between greed for heaven and fear of hell. How can love flower in such a soil? Fear can never give birth to love. Fear can never give birth to compassion. Fear only creates more fear. A conscious man, on the other hand, acts from a different center. He does not look at a book to find out what is right or wrong. He does not ask the priest. He simply listens to his heart. He turns his gaze inward. And when you truly listen to your heart, not the noise of your mind, but the silence of your heart, you cannot harm another being. It is impossible. Why is it impossible? Because in that silence, you see that the other is not other. You see yourself in everyone. You see that the life pulsing in you is the same life pulsing in the tree, in the animal, in your neighbor, even in your enemy. When you see yourself in everyone, how can you steal? You would be stealing from yourself. How can you lie? You would be lying to yourself. Morality divides. It says, I am good, you are bad. It creates an ego trip. I am a saint, look at me, I fast, I pray, I follow the rules. The moral man is filled with ego. That is why the so-called saints are so heavy, so serious. They cannot laugh. Their faces look like they have been drinking vinegar. They are carrying a heavy burden of their own goodness. Awareness unites. Awareness says we are one. Morality judges. Awareness understands. Morality says obey. Awareness says wake up. Have you noticed how every moral society ends up producing the same ugliness it condemns? Look at the Victorian era, so moral they covered the legs of tables because legs were considered sexual. And yet, underneath that strict morality was the greatest perversion, the greatest pornography, the greatest repression. And the more you repress, the more corruption grows underground. This is a psychological law. Whatever you deny, whatever you push into the basement of your mind, gains power. It becomes a monster. If you condemn sex, your mind will become obsessed with sex. You will dream about it. You will hallucinate about it. If you glorify poverty, the mind becomes greedy. Morality creates the very sins it pretends to fight, because repression is the mother of all perversion. That is why I say the moral man is dangerous. He is sitting on a volcano. He looks calm on the surface, but underneath the lava is boiling, and any day it will explode. And when a good man explodes, he does things that even a criminal would be ashamed of. If you wish to explore these depths further and support the work we are doing to liberate the human spirit, consider using the super thanks feature below the video. Your contributions allow us to continue producing these high quality guides for the soul. For those who want to study my philosophy more deeply, we have prepared exclusive ebooks available in the link in the description. Your support is the fuel for this revolution of consciousness. When a child is born, look at him. Look into the eye of a newborn baby. He knows nothing of morality. He knows nothing of your Bible, your Gita, your Quran. Is he evil? No. He is pure. He is innocent. He is uncorrupted. He simply is. He is a part of existence, flowing with it. then the work of society begins. The parents, the teachers, the priests, they all rush to the cradle. They are afraid of this innocence. It is too wild, it is too free. So they begin to prune him. They begin to cut him. This is good, that is bad. Don't touch that. Sit like this, be like that. They carve the child into a shape that suits their idea of order. They kill the human and create a citizen. By the time he becomes an adult, he has forgotten who he really is. He has become a shadow of someone else's expectation. He has become a puppet, and yet he walks proudly, thinking he is moral. He thinks he is a respectable member of society. He does not know he is dead. He died long ago. That is why I call morality the ugliest crime, because it kills the soul in the name of virtue. It replaces your living intelligence with dead commandments. It makes you afraid of life itself. Have you ever seen a truly moral man laugh? I mean a deep belly laugh that shakes his whole being. A laugh that comes from the toes. You haven't. Because morality kills laughter. Laughter is dangerous to the ego. Laughter is rebellious. When you laugh totally, the mind stops. The thinking stops. And the moral man is afraid of stopping the mind. Because if the mind stops, his control is lost. He turns into a corpse that can walk and talk, but cannot dance. He goes through the motions of life, but the juice is gone. When you see this clearly, and I mean really see it, not just agree with me, intellectually, something radical happens. Your guilt begins to dissolve. You realize that there was never anything wrong with you. The wrong was in the eyes that judged you. The wrong was in the system that measured you against a dead ideal. You were born innocent, and that innocence cannot be destroyed. It can be covered, yes. It can be buried under layers of dust, layers of conditioning, layers of shoulds and should nots. But it is still there. It is waiting for you. Awareness is enough to bring it back. You don't have to do anything to become innocent. You just have to be aware of the corruption that has been imposed on you. The moment you see the false as false, so the next time you feel guilty for being human, for having desires, for feeling anger, for wanting love, stop. Remember, it is not your sin. It is society's programming. It is a software that has been installed in your biocomputer. You are not the software. You are the user. You are the watcher. Awareness is your freedom from that programming. The moment you become aware, morality drops like a dead leaf in autumn. You don't have to pluck it. It falls by itself. And in its place, a new kind of purity arises. Not a purity practiced in front of a mirror. Not a purity that seeks applause, but a purity that is wild, natural, born out of your own being. And when that happens, you begin to see the world differently. Your eyes become clear. The fog lifts. You realize that the people called sinners are often the most alive. They have suffered, yes. They have scars, yes. But they are real. And the people called saints are often the most dead. They are plastic flowers. They look perfect, but they have no fragrance, no roots, no life. You understand that a real saint is not one who follows rules. A real saint is one who has dropped all pretension. One who lives with totality, not with rules, but with rhythm. He flows with existence like a river. Sometimes the river moves left, sometimes right. Sometimes it is slow, sometimes it is a waterfall. The river has no map. The river trusts the ocean. But society loves maps, society loves straight lines, society hates the river. When you begin to see that morality itself is a mask, a new question arises in you. If those who made the laws are not pure, if they are just playing a game of power, then what is true law? What is real order? And who then are the real criminals? Let us look deeper into this mechanism. I want you to understand the economics of crime, the politics of crime. Here is something that will sound almost unbelievable. Yet, it is the simple truth. Society itself creates the very criminals it then condemns. It is a manufacturing process. Schools, churches, families, they are factories. And the waste product of these factories is what you call the criminal. It is like a doctor infecting the patient just so he can sell the cure. If everyone is healthy, the doctor goes out of business. If everyone is peaceful, the politician goes out of business. If everyone is innocent, the priest goes out of business. Think about it. The priest needs you to be a sinner. If you are not a sinner, what is his function? He cannot save you if you are not drowning. So his whole investment is in making sure you feel like you are drowning. The laws, the punishments, the moral codes, they do not exist to prevent crime. They exist to sustain it. Because a guilty population is easier to control than a free one. A man who respects himself, a man who trusts his own intelligence, cannot be forced to fight in a war. He will say no. He will say, why should I kill a stranger who has done nothing to me? But a man who is full of guilt, who believes he is bad, who believes he must obey authority to be redeemed, he will pick up the gun, he will kill, he will die. He will do whatever the leaders say. The real genius of the system lies in how it shifts the blame. It points the finger at you. It teaches the poor man to think his hunger is his fault. You are lazy, it says. You didn't work hard enough. It teaches the broken man to think his pain is his punishment. You must have sinned in a past life, or God is testing you. It teaches the enslaved man to believe his chains are the price of peace. If we give you freedom, there will be chaos. So let us control you for your own good. Once this lie settles deep in the heart, there is no need for guns. The prison walls are no longer made of stone. They are made of your own beliefs. People start policing themselves. People start policing each other. If you see someone dancing in the street, you get uncomfortable. You say, he is crazy. Why? Because he is free. And his freedom reminds you of your slavery. You want to stop him because his dance is an insult to your chains. Look around. Open your eyes. The prisons are overflowing with the hungry, not with the powerful. The man who steals a piece of bread is called a criminal. He is handcuffed. He is thrown in a dark cell. His life is destroyed. But the man who steals an entire country, the man who exploits the resources of a continent, the man who plays with the economy and leaves millions jobless, he is called a leader. He is given a Nobel Prize. He is on the cover of magazines. Do you see the absurdity? Do you see the madness? The one who breaks into your home at night will be arrested by the one who breaks into your soul through fear every day. The policeman, the judge, the magistrate, they are part of the same machinery. And yet you think justice exists. You have this naive belief that the courts are there for justice. No. Justice is a mask that hides privilege. Justice is a net that catches the small fish and lets the big sharks pass through. Crime, as you have been taught to see it, is just the shadow of an unjust world. It is the reflection in the mirror. You cannot break the mirror and expect the reflection to disappear. You have to change the face in front of the mirror. When greed is rewarded and compassion punished, how can honesty survive? Look at your educational system. It teaches competition. It teaches you to fight your neighbor. It teaches you that to succeed, you must climb over the heads of others. It says, be number one. But everyone cannot be number one. If there is a number one, there must be a number two, a number 10, a number 1 million. And the number 1 million feels like a failure. He feels angry, he feels cheated. And out of the anger, out of that feeling of worthlessness, crime is born. When the world worships success above all else, what chance does truth have? If you tell the truth and lose, you are a loser. If you lie and win, you are a winner. The world worships the winner. It doesn't care how he won. It doesn't ask if he cheated, if he exploited, if he killed. It only looks at the trophy in his hand. The poor man who steals has not failed society. Society has failed him. Poverty itself is a form of violence. To deprive a man of food, of education, of dignity, that is the slowest murder there is. It kills the spirit day by day. The system commits this murder daily and calls it the economy. The rich hoard mounts of wealth they will never use. They cannot eat gold, they cannot wear 1,000 suits at once. But they hoard it because wealth gives them power. It gives them ego boost. And yet, the beggar is blamed for being lazy. Tell me, who is the real thief? The one who takes a loaf of bread to survive, to quiet the screaming stomach of his child? Or the one who takes the earth itself and calls it property? This earth belongs to no one. It belongs to existence. How can you own a piece of the earth? Can you own the sunshine? Can you own the wind? But the leaders have drawn lines on the map. They say, this is mine, that is yours. And if you cross the line, they shoot you. You celebrate those who plunder the planet. You call them industrialists. They poison the rivers, they cut down the forests, they fill the air with smoke. They are killing the future of your children, but they are respected. They donate a little money to charity, build a temple or a hospital, and you clap your hands. What a great man. And you curse the hungry child who takes what he needs. This is how upside down the world has become. And yet you still believe crime is the fault of individuals. You never see that every thief, every addict, every prostitute is carrying the burden of society's sickness. They are the symptoms. They are the visible wounds of a body that is dying of its own injustice. When you treat the symptom, you ignore the disease. You put the thief in jail, but the greed that created him is still running the government. You punish the drug addict, but the misery that made him seek escape is still woven into the fabric of your daily life. I want you to be the judge today, not the judge who sits in the court with a wig, but the judge of your own intelligence. Who is guilty? The victim who screams, or the system that crushes him? If you are beginning to see the picture, if the fog is starting to clear even a little bit, then we can move deeper. Because this is just the surface. The political and economic crimes are just the outer layer. There is a deeper crime, a spiritual crime, and that is where the real work begins. We will go there, but first you must drop your old definition. You must be ready to look at the leaders and see the criminals, and look at the criminals and see the victims. Are you ready to turn the world right side up, to take the next step in this journey of wholeness? I invite you to click the join button and become a member of our inner circle. Our members receive exclusive content and direct guidance to help them navigate these turbulent times with clarity. If you found value in our message, subscribing and turning on notification ensures you never miss a step in this evolution of the soul. Are you ready to turn the world right side up? Then look at the story of the murderer, Angulimala. This is one of the most significant moments in the history of human consciousness. Angulimala was a madman. He had taken a vow to kill 1,000 people and wear their fingers as a garland around his neck. He had already killed 999. He needed just one more finger to complete his vow. The whole kingdom was trembling. Even the king was afraid to go near the forest where Angulimala lived. But Buddha walked toward that forest. The people warned him, They said, don't go. He does not care who you are. He will kill you just as easily as he kills a fly. Buddha smiled and kept walking. Why? Because the moral man judges, but the awakened man sees. When Buddha met Angulimala, he didn't call him evil. He didn't lecture him on the 10 Commandments. He didn't pull out a law book. He saw the suffering that had driven this man mad. He saw a man who had been born into a world without love, beaten by society, rejected by the so-called good people, twisted by guilt and anger. He saw that Angulimala was not a criminal. He was a victim of a criminal society. And what did Buddha do? He didn't punish him. He didn't call the police. He simply stood there in total silence, in total love. He made him conscious. He said to him, I have stopped. Angulimala, I stopped long ago. My mind is still. But you are running. When will you stop? That simple question. When will you stop? Pierced Angulimala's heart like a sword. In that moment of shock, in the presence of a man who had no fear, the murderer disappeared. The mask fell off. The man remained. Angulimala threw away his sword and fell at Buddha's feet. He became a monk. He became enlightened. Awareness heals what punishment never can. If Buddha had used violence, Angulimala would have remained a killer. But Buddha used light. Now, not all theft is for bread. Not all crime is born of poverty. There is another kind of hunger that is far more dangerous, far more destructive. It is the hunger for power. And this hunger does not belong to the poor. It belongs to those who are already drowning in wealth. It is the hunger that drives kings, priests, and presidents. The poor man steals coins because his belly is empty. The powerful man steals freedom because his soul is empty. You see the difference? The poor man's crime is physical. The politician's crime is spiritual. They steal the dignity of the human soul. The politician rules your body. He puts borders around it. He taxes it. He drafts it into war. The priest rules your mind. He puts beliefs in it. He puts fear in it. And both of them have the audacity to call it service. They say, we are serving the people. This is the greatest joke. Together, they build invisible prisons. They create laws and beliefs so sacred that you don't even see the walls. And because you think you are free, you never try to escape. A prisoner who knows he is in prison will try to dig a tunnel. But a prisoner who thinks he is in a palace will decorate the walls. The real criminals are not in your jails. They are in your temples and parliaments. They are the ones who make you afraid of pleasure. They make you afraid of truth. They make you afraid of rebellion. Why? Because fear is their weapon and guilt is their leash. If you're not afraid, you don't need a leader. If you're not guilty, you don't need a priest. Their whole business depends on your sickness. So they must keep you sick. They must keep you trembling. If you are beginning to see this web of control, if you are realizing how deep this game goes, I want you to pause for a second. If you want to be free of this game, you have to support the truth. Engage with this message, like this video. Share it with someone who is still sleeping. Help me wake them up. Let us create a chain reaction of awareness. They whisper into your ear that obedience is virtue and doubt is sin. Don't doubt, they say. Just have faith. But I tell you, a mind that never doubts can never wake up. Doubt is the beginning of intelligence. Doubt means you are looking, you are searching, you are alive. Faith, blind faith, is just a comfortable sleep. They tell you to worship words written centuries ago and ignore the living truth beating in your own heart. That is the greatest. Theft of all. Stealing a man's ability to trust his own intelligence. They cut off your wings and then blame you for not being able to fly. And they have done it so successfully that you now guard your own chains. You fear anyone who tries to unlock them. If someone comes and says, "You are free," you get angry. You say, "How dare you? My chains are made of gold. My chains were given to me by my ancestors." You see, the tyrant outside can only survive if there is a tyrant inside. The dictator in the palace needs the policeman in your mind. That inner voice that says, you must not question, you must not disobey, be a good boy, be a nice girl. That voice, listen to it carefully. Is it your voice? No. It is the voice of your mother, your father, your schoolmaster, your priest. It is a recording. It is not your conscience. People are very confused about this. They think that little voice in their head is their conscience. It is not. It is your conditioning. Conscience is alive, fluid, spontaneous. It changes with the moment. It responds to the reality of now. Conditioning is mechanical, repetitive, dead. It always gives the same answer. If you ask a Christian conscience, it gives a Christian answer. If you ask a Hindu conscience, it gives a Hindu answer. But truth is neither Hindu nor Christian. Truth is just truth. But as long as you listen to the dead voice of conditioning, you will continue to live in a graveyard. You will be a zombie. You will move. You will eat. You will reproduce. But you will not live. But once awareness enters, that inner tyrant begins to die. This is the miracle of meditation. You don't have to fight the voice. You just have to watch it. You just have to see, this is not me. This is just a tape playing. The moment you see it as a tape, the connection is broken. You stop being ruled. You start being. Let me tell you this, and remember it well. Disobedience, born of awareness, is not sin. It is sacred. When you say no to a corrupt world out of clarity, not out of anger, you become a light in the darkness. There is a difference between reaction and rebellion. Reaction comes from anger. It is political. You hate the government, so you burn the flag. That is reaction. It binds you to the very thing you hate. But rebellion comes from understanding. You see the falseness and you simply step out of it. You don't fight it. You transcend it. The true revolution is not when you overthrow governments. We have done that for thousands of years. We overthrow one tyrant and another takes his place. We call it democracy, we call it communism, but the slavery remains. The names change, the prisons remain. The true revolution is when you overthrow the dictator within. It is not when you destroy temples, but when you stop kneeling to lies. That is the only rebellion that changes everything. The rebellion of consciousness. And when you see this, when you see how society manufactures criminals to keep itself alive, you can no longer condemn the so-called sinner. Your heart opens. You begin to see the pattern. You see the invisible hands writing the rules and calling it justice. Build prisons and calling it peace. Making slaves and calling it morality. You stop judging and compassion is born. This is inevitable. Awareness is the father. Compassion is the mother. They always come together. Once you understand that society creates both the thief and the judge, the killer and the saint, then your vision clears. You see that they are both players in the same game. They need each other. The judge needs the thief to feel important. The saint needs the sinner to feel holy. You stop asking, how do we punish crime? And you start asking, how do we awaken love? That is the only real question. Punishment has failed. Look at your history books. Punishment has been tried for 10,000 years. Has crime disappeared? No. It has increased. It has become more sophisticated. Because a man who is conscious cannot harm. It is impossible. His very presence becomes a blessing. His very breath is a healing. He is in harmony with the whole. And when enough human beings live in that awareness, this whole machinery of sin and punishment will collapse. There will be no need for prisons, for governments, for priests. Why would you need a policeman if you don't want to steal? Why would you need a priest if you are already in direct contact with the divine? The only true law will be the law of understanding. So look carefully. The world you live in has turned everything upside down. The true saints are in prison or in madhouses or ignored on the streets. And the real criminals are giving sermons. The thieves are punished for stealing bread, but those who have stolen your joy, your innocence, your laughter, they are praised as protectors of morality. That is the grand deception. Once you see it clearly, you step out of it, you simply drop the game. You no longer belong to their madness. You belong to consciousness itself. And now, as we go deeper, as the layers of the onion are peeled away, a new and more profound question begins to rise within you. If forgetfulness of our being is the root of all this trouble, if unconsciousness is the seed of every act of violence, then perhaps the greatest crime is not against others at all. Perhaps the real crime is against oneself. This is the turning point. Stop looking at the world for a moment and look at yourself. The greatest crime does not happen in the marketplace or the battlefield. It happens in the silent corners of your own being. The real crime is forgetfulness, forgetting that you are consciousness, forgetting your original face, forgetting who you were before they gave you a name and a religion. Beneath the noise of your thoughts and the burdens of your identity, there exists a pure, living presence that has never harmed anyone. That presence is you, and that you cannot harm anyone because it knows no separation. When man forgets this, he falls asleep, and in that sleep he begins to hurt others. He begins to hurt himself. He becomes a nightmare to himself and to the world. Every war, every lie, every cruelty that has ever scarred this earth began in the same moment. The moment man forgot who he was. You see, the world is not suffering because man is evil. That is a wrong diagnosis. Priests say you are born sinners. I say no. You are not born sinners. You are born unconscious. You are born in a state of sleep potential. The world suffers because man is unconscious. Forgetfulness is the root of all violence. The moment you forget your being, ego takes over. The ego is a false entity. It is a bubble. And because it is false, it is always afraid of popping. It needs constant support. It needs conflict to survive. It needs to prove itself. It needs to dominate. It needs to win. The ego cannot exist in peace. Have you noticed? When you are peaceful, the I disappears. When you are angry, the I becomes very strong. So the ego loves war. Peace feels like death to the ego. So it creates comparison, competition, jealousy, war. And it does this beautifully. It is very cunning. It wraps its madness in noble words. It calls hatred patriotism. I am killing for my country. It calls greed ambition. I am building a future for my family. It calls revenge justice. This is the cleverness of forgetfulness. It makes you believe your sickness is your strength. Remember the story of Adam's fall from paradise? It is one of the most misunderstood stories in the world. The priests have used it to make you feel guilty. They say Adam sinned by disobeying God. I say to you, it is not a story about sin. It is a story about sleep. It is a story about the loss of awareness. The fruit of the tree of knowledge represents the birth of the mind, the birth of distinction, the birth of duality. The moment Adam ate the fruit, he began to think, he began to label, this is good, this is bad, I am naked, I should be ashamed. Before that,